The reason why I want to speak to the young man is because the young man is the one working without emotional control from lack of understanding. I mean, we ride around in nice cars and things like that, but we also tote guns, sell drugs, listen to rap music, all the things that promote the destruction of life. So why wouldn't life mirror that which you teach it to be? Why wouldn't life reflect that which you create with your own hands and mouth? We got to do better. We know this. How do we do better? Why do we do better? What is the need to do better for? We love our children. We love our families. We love our moms. We love our dads. So we can't put a limit to this. Here I show you statistics, excuse me, statistics that reflect what goes on within mostly the United States. There may be one or two to show it's not just an American problem, it's a world problem because the world is in a dysfunction, everything is in disarray. We have to repair ourselves by healing ourselves and the broken wounds that are there. To fathom that your child could end up dead should make you want to see different in life. To see your child out there destroying and being destructive in life, you got to take ownership to that too, because a lot of parents feed that negative to their child, and then when their child end up a certain way, it's oh my baby was a good baby. No, you wasn't. No, he wasn't. Everybody know it, so quit saying it. Everybody understands what the truth is. But it's okay to say you don't know how to reach a person. And that's what I'm doing this for. I'm trying to get that little young man that don't know how to control his emotion and is running around with other young men that are not knowing how to control their emotion. So they tote guns, act tough, smoke weed, do drugs, have sex, all these things that make them feel good when that's a false sense of pride. You wake up in the morning, how do you encourage not just your children? Because that's the difference life needs. And that's simple. You know, you want to be a community, become your community. Become the reflection that you want your community to be. Don't just speak to the person that live beside you. Speak to the person that live up the block, 9 streets over. Treat everybody as you treat the people within your house, and things will begin to change. Ain't nothing or no one perfect, so I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. No one's perfect, so I'm not saying that that which you love and are willing to fight for is going to come easy. Lives are going to continue to get lost. That's just a factor. But you can't keep sitting idly by thinking things are going to change just because you got some type of success to your life. Just because you got some type of car, women, money, jewelry to your life. That's not sustaining life. And at this point, we got to learn to depend on each other because what the future beholds, if we don't learn to embrace each other now, what the future beholds, I mean, if we look back in time to what the future beheld, We see the mistakes and where we can correct them. We see the mistakes and where we know not to feed them, replenish them, and help them to regrow. That's not a real rose, that's a hybrid. You got to have more than just a purpose of getting up every day, going to work, and doing the best you can for your children. That's great. That's what you're supposed to do. But how is that working for your child in the long run? I mean, they go to the mall, end up dead, doing nothing to nobody. Little babies getting shot, laying in their crib, doing nothing to nobody. So, young man, I'm talking to you because I want you to see that your friends, that's trauma bonding. Y'all losing people. Y'all go to the funeral and mourn, cry, express emotions, and then go hang out and do drugs in that emotion. How do I understand that? I once was a person that did exactly that. Especially if a friend got killed, I was prepared to go to hell for that. That was my man. That was my dog. That was this. That was that. No, that was me embracing something I should have never been a part of. That was me embracing a feeling of wanting to be respected, loved, and valued outside myself when I didn't realize the greatest value was in self. Young man, you got to be willing to see something other than those four corners. Young man, you're going to find yourself in problematic situations, but it's how you respond that's going to set the definition to the man you want to be. And although I may not be able to reach out to you in your face, or I may not be able to reach out to you over the phone, I can reach one person on this here internet. And that's not just one person individually, that's one person here, one person there, one person over here, one person behind me. Because I know once being that young thug or that young man, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I found out that I gave a fuck, so I quit doing it. And everybody I know that's my age, and if you go back and look at the statistics between 1993 to 96 are worse than they were now. I mean, I'm going to say that again. 1993 to 96 were the worst times in gun violence. From looking at the statistics and learning these things, as you can see. But I understand that in a multitude of ways, and one of them I touch bases on, but I want to go a little more in depth because I want to sit down with the young women, and I want you to get to understand that the lack of having a father doesn't just affect the young man; it affects you too. You don't know how to properly deal with a man, especially or specifically one that you are not having sexual relationships with, let alone how to respond when you are having sex, because the sex can make a woman delusional. Men too, but more so women. But it's not even about that. It's about the effects of the child. Cause see, right now, the ones that have the biggest issues, the biggest problems, the biggest woes in life, are anywhere on average, I want to say about 8 to 25, because it's normally like the age where kids begin to get raped, or life begins to make sense but don't make sense. So emotional damage is done, situations and problems arise. We got to know that these things can be fixed if understood in the proper or in its proper context. No one has all the answers. No one has all the clues. This is something that we can figure out together. I want to help you save your child or your grandchildren. Because somewhere someone needs to hear this. Like the little boy sitting in this room right now, in the dark, crying, embracing that darkness. But will never find in their adulthood ways nor how to climb out that darkness. I was once a man that lived in the darkness. I was once a child that embraced the darkness, so why wouldn't I have became a man that lived in it? And it wasn't intentional. It wasn't done out of the lack of love for self. Although I did lack love for self, I didn't know who I was to actually say I love myself properly. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I loved myself, but I didn't understand myself to love myself properly. And that's an issue too, um, that a lot of people don't understand they come to in their life. It feels like a crossroads, but no, it's just you taking time out to figure out who you are and who you're trying to become. And when you are not capable of doing that, sometimes things you see or the things you hear can help you through that. And that is what I'm trying to do here by showing you these statistics, by giving you things that you can reference, by designing a picture of what could be, what is becoming, and what has already been done to our communities, our lives, and our children. We got to step out on more than just faith. I mean, even in religion, faith without works is dead. Why is it that we cannot and will not take ownership to the dysfunctional shit that we bring to life? How come we got to look at life with one eye closed when if we just simply extend our hand, it's like looking through a bifocal and make things clear? Because sometimes what you can't understand, someone else can make sense of. Sometimes what you don't know how to deal with, someone else understands and can help you there. We are too prideful. Our egos are way too big. But here's the kicker: they're not bigger than the problems and dilemmas that plague our communities and lives. And we recognize this, but we still go in the house and shut the door. We still drive off in our car talking about, look at this little nigga, man. When he gonna change his life? When he gonna do this? When he gonna do that? Why does he think that's for him? You don't know what it took for a person to get that far to judge them or what they have been through to judge them. So please, and I do mean please, rethink what you say. Please rethink the things that you are doing inside your communities inside your households first and foremost, because a lot of people's household is dysfunctional. A lot of people's household is a ratchet mess. And mine can be that way at some time. So I'm not bigger or pointing the finger and saying I am. Because no, I'm not okay. We all have life problems. Life keeps lifing. You cannot stop. You cannot be closed off. You cannot fall into that darkness. Let the darkness fall upon you. Because when darkness fall upon you, you bring light to the situation. When you fall into darkness, there's no telling how far you may fall. But if you've fallen, sometimes you could save your own life by once again sticking out your hand. Sometimes that's all it takes. Just stick your hand out. Sometimes you ain't got to say nothing when you're going through things because you may not even know how. I mean, I know at times I could get so angry that, especially when I was young, I would get so angry at small things to where I couldn't speak for hours. I mean, I would have lockjaw and be having a whole conversation with you when you talking to me, but I couldn't mentally or physically or even emotionally respond. But then again, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's that moment where I learned that I hadn't got over trauma and was directly affected by what I went through. So at those moments, at those times, I became emotional, not just emotionally angry, but emotionally filled with rage. But my true emotions were something totally different. When I look back, my true emotions were that of a scared little boy that was dying for someone to help me become a different person, teach me something. I thought that's what life was for. I thought my parents were supposed to teach me, and I was right. But understand how that looks and feels to a child when your parents don't teach love to you or even express love for you. I mean, you could buy them everything but love. You could do everything for them and still not love them in the proper context or manner. And some people or some children learn to get over that which plagues them. Some people just have certain knacks for certain things. That's just a reality of it. But these statistics that I am showing you say that there are so many more people that are emotionally dysfunctional or detached, that life in a whole as a picture reflects that. At what point does a man stop controlling his household? At what point is your community not part of your household? I mean, wherever your house lie or stands, so to speak, is your community. But that is the place you call home. Is it not? Like you from Chicago, that's home. You're from LA, you're from Pittsburgh, you're from Philly, you're from Louisiana, Mississippi. You're from all these places that one has to understand has a lot of displaced fear, dysfunction, and has a desperate need of re education. It's no mystery that the schools are represented to look like the penitentiary. This is by design. So, in other words, when you fall victim to what they put in front of you, you're a slave. And in reality, you're not a victim. You're a person that is saying, "Here, master, take control over my life because I have none." This is what jail teach you. What do you learn? You can let those 7 seconds destroy or make your life. It's all in what you thinking in those 7 seconds. If a person is cussing you out with their hand on their gun, you can respond or you can keep your mouth shut. Some people do have the gall and nerve to respond. In fact, people could tell you, I'm one going to respond. I'm not one that's going to work or show fear for no circumstances, under any circumstance. I'm not one that's going to be a victim to someone bullying me at any standard. But I did learn along the way to shut my mouth and keep it pushing. It kept me from going back to jail. It kept me from being killed, and it kept me from killing somebody. And it also allowed me to get to a point to where I could learn to be successful no matter how much trauma, no matter how much I've been through, no matter how much I didn't have a certain thing or certain people in my life. I realized that there is a lot of joy behind living if I know what I am living for and what I am trying to accomplish in life to make it feel worth living. And a lot of people don't have that simple understanding that it takes for you to get up off your ass and distract yourself to become a better person sometimes. Because sometimes the things and the people around you mean you no good, even if they don't cause you no harm. Even if they add value to your life, there's people you're going to let go of. The sooner that you get to a grip where you can handle that, instead of wanting to jump off a bridge. I mean, because I seen people hang it up. Being in that county jail, I watched a dude come out of cell with a sheet tied around his neck. We watch him tie the sheet around the top tier pole and in turn jump over the rail and instantly snap his neck. But right before that, he was crying how his girlfriend didn't love him no more. But you think that's where it stops? You think in another jail someone wasn't doing the same thing because their mom didn't love them or because their friends turned their back on them? I mean, people feel vulnerable, they do dumb things. When people feel abused, they do dumb things. When people are not understanding how to take control of certain simple situations, they do dumb things. In fact, life says that you're going to do what? Dumb things. Because dumb things are called mistakes. Dumb things are called bad habits. Dumb things are called lack of boundaries. Dumb things are called lack of self-control. And I ain't saying I got all the answers. I'm just saying I suffered in life a great deal to where I feel I have enough knowledge and understanding to be able to share these things with you. In fact, I believe I see life in a unique way. In the days and years to come, you got to understand that life is not going to be the same ever again after you hear this podcast. It's not going to be the same. Nothing remains the same. So why anything going to resemble the same thing twice? It won't. The past is the past. The future must move on. But here, you don't have a past or a future. You only have the here and now. And the here and now says, you're not a good man like you think you are. The here and now says, you're not a good woman like you think you are. Or your boundaries and your standards are not set where you think they should be. Sometimes we be knowing that too, and just be in denial or deflective of the fact. But it doesn't make it any different. It doesn't make it change when you lack the understanding of who you are. And a lot of us swear we love ourselves, but we don't know who we are. And you can't know how to love yourself if you don't know who you are. That is just a simple fact. Because you don't know what you're capable of to have a boundary or a standard to be the man or the woman that you should be. Young man, these teenage years that you're going to go through, especially when your puberty starts at 8, 9 years old. They say women go through puberty first. No, a male, a boy, a man goes through puberty starting at the age 8, but his puberty is tacked on behind trying to find ways to make sense of certain things logically when he hasn't figured out life yet. That's where a man can teach a boy how to become a man because he can show him, not just teach him, how to make logical sense of things. And vice versa. Woman, please don't forget to be mothers to them little girls. Because I find that, even now, a lot of these young women don't even know how to bathe themselves. I mean, this generation right here, this young generation right now, this generation of teenagers, they're a mess. So imagine what the next generation gonna look like if we don't figure out how to tackle our demons and fight our problems head on. Look at these statistics. Look at these statistics and ask yourself, have you done enough to ensure the people that you love can grow up instead of being raised up? Because things that grow on their own, they learn to live in a unique manner. I mean, let's go back and look at the ideology of a rose. It comes with thorns, so if you touch it in the wrong place, it's going to get you. But if you know when to clip the rose petal or its leaves at the right moment, next year it comes back ready to flourish in such a healthy, beautiful way that you enjoy planting that seed. There's great power in taking control over the things that you say and do. There's great power and enjoyment reaching and accomplishing goals. I'm a person that anything I want out of life, I find ways to go and get it. And I ain't really good at this podcast thing, but I'm going to learn to be one of the best you've ever seen, I guarantee it. Because I also know when I want something, I'm going to learn and do anything I can. And that's what I am showing you. I am not just learning to be a good podcast host, I'm also learning to back up the words that I speak by researching the material that I need to understand best. to give it to you. This is not just a today's effort. This is a fight I've been doing for a long time, and no one's paying me for this. So I'm going to continue because I care about y'all, both young men and women. Because I know what it's like to have just simple things. So, like I said, sometimes you go through things and don't really know what you're going through. And when you're in adolescence, going through things that make no sense logically, especially as a boy, you tend to shut it out instead of trying to figure out what's actually on with you and move on to something else. But all that does is distract you from that which is your problem and your issue at that moment. And if you don't know how to deal with it, it becomes a plague later in life. It shows up in other places in life. It demands attention, even if you don't know that's what you're going through in certain moments in life. And if you never know how to problem solve, if you never learn how to problem solve, then how are you going to learn to add, multiply things that could be the blessings to life, the things that add the beauty that you need in your life, things that will give you purpose of life. You got to learn to tie your shoes up and fight back, even if you don't swing a muscle. Sometimes fighting back ain't always having something to say or something to do. Excuse me, something to do. Sometimes we gotta self reflect and self check ourselves to get over the hump, not sit there and wallow in woe is me. Why is this always happening to me? Why God picked me? Why is this a problem on me? Yeah, I understand God wouldn't make it if it wasn't for me, you know, God won't give you nothing you can't pay. Face it, man. Face it. It's you. You were designed for that. You, for whatever reason, your energy reflect the things that you go through. Change your thought process, and your energy will change. Excuse me. There's a purpose to that. Understanding is to know that life is in energy. So the energy that you keep within inside of you multiplies. Because, like I said, it becomes a downloadable system because your body is built like a computer. Like, if you don't know this, you can look this up. The iPods, they're set up right now where they making them like the EEG graphs. And I'm gonna get into that, but just look it up. I'm gonna dive deep into that one of these upcoming episodes. But just understand that they have already passed a law that they can convict you for future crimes, meaning crimes you haven't even committed yet. Excuse me. So how do you think that they passed a law like that, but don't have a means to express it? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. We know the technology is a motherfucker, man. Come on now. Look, all I'm saying is I'm not trying to take up too much of your time, too much of your day, and I'm not trying to place blame in frivolous places. I mean, I have a lot of blame because I was one who was adding to the dysfunction and disruption of life, and I take ownership of that, and I'm trying to rebuild life where I destroyed it. But I'm also saying to you how you acquiesce to people like me who have done that by allowing them to place their anger on you, their sadness and their fears on you to become a person who lives in your sadness and fear. because you can't experience or live life in the manner that you truly know would be a lot different and a lot better. You have to forgive me for this uh, slight word stutters and things of that nature. Like I said, this is new to me. But I hope you understand my intentions, and I hope that you can see my passion, and I also hope that you can like, comment, and share, because we all have a story. So tell yours. I'm listening. As I leave you, I want to leave you with a thought of love, because when you know how to love yourself properly, life's a beautiful thing. But imagine how more beautiful it could be if you expressed yourself and treated people with the beauty that you see, with the beauty that you seek. You know, the type of beauty that'll help you or make you want to thrive, make you want to step out on a limb and reach for success. The kind of love that would make the world a better place. I'm your host, Darnell Henderson. I thank you for watching. I also want to say my heart goes out to these families, and I hope you do not take this out of text. I speak with love because I am love.